Most people believe failure comes from weakness or hesitation, but more often, it comes from acting at the wrong moment, speaking too soon, moving too late, forcing action when patience was required, or waiting when the moment demanded decisiveness. The warrior understood this deeply. Victory and survival were not determined by strength alone, but by timing. In ancient Japan, timing was not a skill added later. It was foundational. Samurai strategy revolved around knowing when to advance and when to remain still, when to draw the blade, and when to let the hand rest. Miyamoto Musashi wrote that many lose not because they lack technique, but because they do not understand rhythm. To act without understanding time is to fight blind. This is a story about timing, about when to act and when to wait. It is not about speed, but about judgment, and it unfolds through the quiet struggle of one man learning to listen instead of react. If these principles resonate with you, understand this clearly. Work like this is rarely shown, and those who seek it often lose it just as quietly. Subscribe not for entertainment, but so this path does not disappear from your view. Those who remain continue to train. Chapter 1. The cost of poor timing. The man had a habit of acting quickly. When pressure appeared, he moved. When uncertainty emerged, he filled it with action. To the outside world, this looked like decisiveness, but privately, he felt the cost of it: exhaustion, regret, the sense that he was constantly repairing damage caused by movement that came too early. In samurai philosophy, this condition is known as impatience of the spirit. Bushido warned that a warrior who rushes is already defeated. Action divorced from awareness becomes noise, and noise attracts danger. The man did not yet see this. He believed more action meant more control. Only later would he understand that restraint was not inaction, but preparation. Chapter 2. The first lesson of Mai. In Japanese martial tradition, there's a concept called Mai. It is often translated as distance, but this is incomplete. Mai is the relationship between space, timing, and intention. It is the invisible field where outcomes are decided before movement begins. Musashi emphasized that one must feel Mai, not calculate it. The correct moment reveals itself to those who are present. Those who rush never see it. Those who hesitate too long miss it. The man encountered this idea not through study, but through failure. He spoke when silence would have given him leverage. He pushed when waiting would have shifted conditions. Each time, the result was the same. The situation closed against him. Chapter 3. Movement without awareness. Zen teaches that an unsettled mind seeks resolution through action. Stillness feels dangerous to it. The man recognized himself in this. Waiting made him uncomfortable. Silence felt like loss of control. But the samurai trained specifically to become comfortable in this space. In battle, premature movement revealed intention. The warrior who moved first often lost, not because he lacked skill, but because he surrendered information. Musashi wrote that one must let the opponent reveal himself. This requires patience. It requires the discipline to endure uncertainty without reaching for relief. Chapter 4. A modern battlefield. The man's world did not involve swords or duels. His battles were quieter, but no less consequential. Decisions at work, conflicts in relationships, moments where a single word could either stabilize or destroy. He noticed that his instincts were misaligned. When tension rose, he spoke. When ambiguity appeared, he forced clarity. Each time, he felt briefly relieved, and each time, the long-term outcome worsened. Bushido framed such behavior as a lack of internal order. The warrior who cannot govern himself cannot govern outcomes. Timing, then, begins internally, not externally. Chapter 5. Stillness as training. The man began practicing stillness deliberately, not as avoidance, but as discipline. When the impulse to act arose, he delayed. He observed it without obeying it. Zen meditation trains this exact capacity, to sit while thoughts arise and pass without attachment, to allow urgency to dissolve on its own. Over time, this reshapes perception. The man discovered that many situations resolved themselves without his interference. Others clarified naturally. By waiting, he gained information, and information changed everything. Chapter 6. Musashi's rhythm. Musashi wrote extensively about rhythm. He believed every situation had a tempo, like music. To act in harmony with it was skill. To act against it was folly. There is fast rhythm and slow rhythm. Rhythm of people, rhythm of circumstances, rhythm of one's own mind. The master observes all of them before choosing action. The man realized he had been acting according to his internal tension, not external reality. His timing was selfish, not strategic. This insight unsettled him, but it also gave him direction. Chapter 7. When waiting is power. In samurai strategy, waiting is often aggressive. By not acting, one forces the other side to reveal intention. Silence becomes pressure. Stillness becomes dominance. The man tested this. In conversations where he would normally explain himself, he paused. In conflicts where he would normally defend, he listened. The effect was immediate. Others filled the space. They exposed priorities, weaknesses, fears. This was not manipulation. It was clarity. By withholding action, he allowed truth to surface. Chapter 8. The discipline of non-action. Zen calls this wu-wei, borrowed from earlier philosophy, but deeply integrated into Japanese thought. Action without forcing. Movement that arises naturally from conditions rather than will. The man struggled with this. Non-action felt irresponsible, but he began to see the difference between neglect and restraint. One is avoidance. The other is precision. Musashi warned against useless movement. Every action must have purpose. If purpose is unclear, waiting is the correct choice. Chapter 9. The moment that cannot be missed. Waiting does not mean hesitation forever. There are moments that appear briefly and vanish. The warrior trains so that when that moment arrives, action is immediate and total. The man experienced the shift because he waited more often. He recognized true openings more clearly. When action was required, he no longer doubted. This is the paradox of timing. Those who wait will act faster when it matters. Their movements are decisive because they are aligned. Chapter 10. Fear, disguised as patience. Not all waiting is wisdom. Samurai teachings also warn against false patience. Delay born of fear is still weakness. The man had to confront this. There were moments when he used philosophy to justify avoidance. He told himself he was waiting, when he was actually retreating. The difference is internal. True waiting is calm. False waiting is tense. The warrior learns to distinguish the two through honest self-observation. Chapter 11. Internal timing. Before one can master external timing, one must master internal rhythm, breath, emotion, thought. Zen training emphasizes breath because it reveals the state of the mind. Shallow breath signals urgency. Steady breath signals readiness. The man learned to use his breath as a gauge. If he could not breathe calmly, he did not act. This simple rule prevented countless mistakes. Chapter 12. Small non-negotiable rules. To embody timing, the man adopted small rules. He did not respond immediately to provocation. He did not decide while emotionally charged. He did not speak until he understood his intention. These rules were not rigid. They were stabilizing. They created space between impulse and action. Bushido valued such discipline because it removed chaos from decision-making. Timing became consistent rather than reactive. Chapter 13. The world slows down. As a man practiced this way of being, something unexpected happened. Time seemed to slow, not externally but internally, because he was no longer rushing. Moments expanded. He noticed details, subtle shifts in tone, posture, energy. This is what Musashi meant by seeing the enemy's spirit. It applies beyond combat. Those who are present perceive earlier. Earlier perception creates better timing. Chapter 14. Acting without regret. When action finally came, it felt different. No internal debate, no second-guessing. The man acted cleanly. Whether the outcome was favorable or not, he felt at peace. He had acted at the right time. Samurai philosophy does not promise success. It promises alignment. Regret comes from misalignment, not failure. Chapter 15. Timing as identity. Over time, timing became part of who the man was. He was no longer known for speed or hesitation, but for judgment. Others trusted his decisions, even when they did not understand them. This is the quiet authority of someone who does not rush. Musashi believed that mastery is visible without explanation. Timing reveals itself through presence. Chapter 16. The final lesson. In his later writings, Musashi warned that timing cannot be memorized. It must be lived. Rules are helpful at first, but eventually they fall away. What remains is sensitivity to reality. The man understood this now. Timing was not something he applied. It was something he embodied. Chapter 17. When to act, when to wait. The warrior waits when the situation is unclear, when emotion clouds judgment, when action would reveal more than it would resolve. The warrior acts when clarity appears, when movement is necessary, when waiting would allow decay. This balance is not dramatic. It is quiet, and it is built through discipline. Chapter 18. Returning to stillness. The man returned often to stillness, not as retreat, but as calibration. In silence, timing recalibrates itself. The noise of urgency fades. What remains is direction. Then taught this long ago. The sword rests in the sheath until the moment demands otherwise. Chapter 19. The unseen victory. Most victories achieved through timing are invisible. They look like nothing happened, but the warrior knows. Disaster avoided. Conflict dissolved. Opportunity seized at the exact moment. This is the highest level of strategy, to shape outcomes without spectacle. Chapter 20. The way forward. The man no longer sought constant action. He sought alignment. When he moved, it mattered. When he waited, it was deliberate. This is when to act and when to wait, not as technique, but as a way of being. The warrior walks through time itself with awareness, neither ahead of it nor behind it, but exactly where he needs to be. If these principles resonate with you, understand this clearly. Work like this is rarely shown, and those who seek it often lose it just as quietly. Subscribe not for fun or entertainment, but so this path does not disappear from your view. Those who remain continue to train. Those who do not simply drift back into unskilled timing.